I've taught women's self-defense for multiple years, and I always started each one of the classes with, there's two people on a police report. There's a victim and a survivor, and the only difference between a victim and a survivor is the survivor did something. You're at war with yourself every single time you wake up, and the disciplined mindset that you have to have, it's non-negotiable. When we understand our identity, that's when we become unstoppable. It's not based on our talents or abilities or looks or anything else like that. The martial arts community opened up a facet for me. I came on staff with a nonprofit 15 years ago and became a director of security. That actually opened up the door for me to get licensed through the Texas Private Security Bureau. That immersed me into the executive protection world.
Hey there, welcome to the Mental Perk podcast. I'm Carla Hutcherson, licensed professional counselor.
And I'm Brandy Mock, entrepreneur, author, and community leader. And we're here to talk about
real people, real issues, and real talk.
Welcome back to Mental Perk. Today we are joined by Brian Ulch, a security expert with over 32 years of experience in firearms, martial arts, and executive protection. He's a licensed instructor with the Texas Private Security Bureau, co-owner of Alamo Defense, and a dedicated advocate for survivors of human trafficking. Brian's here to share his insights on personal protection and resilience. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much
We're so
for
glad to
letting me
have
be
you here.
We are so excited.
Yes.
So excited. So tell us a little bit about you. What's going on in your life and what got you to where you're at? And guys, we're going to share with you some really cool stuff about him, but we kind of want him to fill in who he is first.
Well, I am very blessed. My journey in life has been multifaceted. I have had people ask me, what do I do? Well, I'm a little bit diversified when it comes to my life journeys, seemingly with every bit of the experiences that I've had, both in martial arts and in the private security industry, really has stemmed from a heartbeat of really empowering people to understand their strengths. I mean, at the end of the day, resilience and heartbeat, when I was right out of high school, I got into the martial arts community, and through the martial arts community, after my wife and I got married, we're married 28 years this last December.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And she's gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
She's gorgeous.
She tolerates me. That's a huge,
well,
huge
don't all
thing,
women. Don't all women.
Behind every good man's a better woman. That's what I always say.
There you go.
I love that.
But after getting into the martial arts community, one of the things that I realized was the foundation of everything that I am really stems down to fundamentals of my faith, and really the strength that's inside us is defined by our identity. And, through the journey in martial arts, it plunged me into some amazing relationships. I've been amazingly blessed to have individuals come into my life. If you see me in any level of success in my life, it's not because of me. It's because of the individuals that I have aligned with, and that's another conversation piece for later on. But I'm kind of like a turtle on a fence post. If I got there, it's because of the community and the people that were around me that I aligned with. Two words, and I'll not rabbit trail and stuff, but two words that resonated with me at the beginning of the year was alignment and assignment. And that has been the picture of my life is aligning with people that change the trajectory of who I am.
Wow.
And, really the people that I aligned with, those were individuals that really cultivated the talents and the gifts that are inside of me in not just walking in strength. It's never about perfection. It's about persistence and resilience.
I love that.
And that's what really martial arts did for me. Was when I got into the martial arts community, began obviously doing competitive fighting and things like that. After I tested for my first degree black belt in American Taekwondo, trained under an 8-time world champion. Just legacy individuals that I was blessed to align with, that were not just normal people. They were people that had just indomitable spirits, that were unstoppable in every attribute of their life. It wasn't that they were perfect. They faced issues. They had addictions. They had problems. They had struggles, but they never quit. And I think that speaks into a little prelude of unstoppable.
Yes.
When you realize that you're gonna go through stuff in life. But everything that I am today is really the heartbeat of never giving up, and it is that resilient and being unstoppable. But out of my career of getting involved in martial arts, my wife actually was a competitive figure bodybuilder for almost 7 years. So she drugged me into the bodybuilding industry for about 3 years, and so I attempted to dabble in that. But one of the things that I found is the people that began to start coming into my life when it came to the martial arts community and the bodybuilding industry and everything else really started illuminating for me is that, you know, people have a passion for self-development and self-growth, and, you know, no matter what we go through, you know, we've got to have people around us that push us beyond difficult situations. And
why did you start in martial arts? What out of high school made you think, I need to do this? Was there a situation in your life, or was there...
Honestly, growing up as a kid, and it's going to sound crazy, I was the quietest guy in the room. I was the guy that would stand on the outside of the circles. I was the guy that... I didn't think I had anything to say. I didn't think I had anything to offer, and it was all my insecurities. And I think that's one of the things, too, that with where I am today, both in the security services industry and everything else that I've been blessed to align with professionally and really situationally with relationships and stuff, it's when we understand our identity, that's when we become unstoppable.
Oh, yeah.
It's not based on our talents or our abilities or our looks or anything else like that. It's when we know who we are, then when we encounter situations that try to alter our understanding, it gives us a foundation to stand on that we know we're immovable and unshakable. It doesn't mean that we don't have tough days and bad days, but it's our identity that actually changes that. So what happened, nothing really was something that was eventual that happened in my life, aside from the fact that I was blessed to be raised in a home where my mom and dad were amazing. They were married for 51 years before my mom passed away. And they just always loved, cared, stood beside and said, we love you, we believe in you, and there's nothing that you can't do in this life. And no matter what you do or what you face or where you go, you always have us, and we're always beside you. So I've lived my life with understanding the value of having individuals in your life that that believe in you, but that they don't change. So many times relationships, and you look at when you go through things situationally, those things cause us, when we have relationships or situations that fall apart, or encounters that are traumatic, we draw back from really our pursuit of successes and really what we want.
Well, the one thing I've noticed too about martial arts, because I was big on getting my young one, my oldest one, I got her into it. We did a little mommy-daughter self-defense class, because, you know, you always worry about if you're not looking or something happens, you want your kids to have enough confidence in knowing that they can get out of a situation if they need to. But the one thing I hear about everything you're saying is it kind of flows around discipline.
100%.
Martial arts is so much
Very
discipline.
much about discipline.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing, because I got to tell you, when I first met Brian, I'm hearing him say about how he's kind of reserved and kind of sat on the sidelines quiet. He was one of the first people to come in and welcome me whenever I was going to a trafficking event, which was really, to hear you say that it's interesting, because you're like that little, and I don't know how to say it in not a frilly way, but you're kind of that little shine that comes into a group of people. You kind of just, people know they can come up to you, and you're going to be welcoming. It's just, it's a very, it kind of surprises me hearing that he was so, you know. So you go into this, you're doing martial arts. It's a lot of discipline.
I was going to go back to, like, when you're bodybuilding training, you lose that shyness because you're very vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there, right?
100%. I think that's one of the things in building into that unstoppable mindset, and really how it really laces in together with everything that we're looking at doing and the prelude to the event coming up. But when you look at vulnerability, on my right shoulder and chest, I have armor tattooed. And one of the reasons that I put that on there is that so many times in our lives, we live our lives protecting, really who we are. And very few people get to see our true transparency. And I go back to, I'm a closet introvert. When you walk into a room, the one thing that I know is I know how I felt when I wanted to be that one that someone was at least involving in conversation. So I wanted to be what I wanted and looked for in a situation.
Yeah, definitely. Building that empathy because you've been that introvert. And when you see someone coming in a room, you want to make sure that they don't feel what you felt.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely. And then obviously, even with the martial arts career, I was, like I said, blessed to get my first degree black belt under 8-time world champion, second degree black belt under a world champion as well, grandmaster. Phenomenal DNA and legacy and pedigree of the fight community that I came out of and still am involved in, immersed in. And then being plunged into the bodybuilding industry, like I said, the discipline mindset that you have to have, it's non-negotiable. But really talking about just your insecurities or really your identity, you're at war with yourself every single time you wake up. And, we all struggle to get to the gym. I'm a lazy dieter when it comes to bodybuilding. If it's not convenient and easy, I struggle with achieving it. So I have to be intentional with my discipline to see those things take place. But the martial arts community opened up a facet for me. I came on staff with a nonprofit about 15 years ago and became a director of security for this nonprofit for almost 7 years. Okay. And so as director of security, that actually opened up the door for me to get actually licensed through the Texas Private Security Bureau. And that immersed me into the executive protection world. I realized what I didn't have, and I was walking and operating next to guys that had dossiers and resumes that were far above mine. But the one thing that I knew is I knew what was inside of me, and I knew my heart and my passion to protect, my heart and my passion to literally make a difference in a room. And at the end of the day, I'm willing to sacrifice anything and everything for those that not only I was paid to protect, but the people that I cared about. And through that journey, got licensed. I had got my executive protection training through an individual, a former deputy director of Triple Canopy. Just amazing skill sets that I have acquired just because of relationships. And once again, I go back to alignment and assignment. The people that I've been blessed to be trained under, the people that I've been blessed to walk with, have changed the tapestry of my vision. And that's the reason I am such a relationship snob when it comes to people that I allow into my heart, my mind, my mindset. And I'm careful with who I share my vision with. I'm careful with who I align with because those alter your disciplines. You've seen it. You meet somebody and next thing you know, you're not doing the same things you were doing 6 months prior. But having all those things, the martial arts background and close to 30 years in the martial arts community, that plunged me in the security sector. That developed me some relationships that were absolutely transformational in changing the trajectory of not just my career professionally and working in circles. And I've said it, I've stood in shadows of some of the greatest orators and individuals in the 21st century. I mean, just very, very blessed to align and work next to some amazing individuals. And obviously with Justin, I know you guys have had him. He's going to be a part of the event that we have coming up. I've worked with him for almost 2 years, working protective details. And one of the things that you find is that when you're in the right place and you're with the right people, your future changes. I've always said, sit with warriors, the conversation's different, but also show me your circle and I'll show you your future. People don't realize.
I do too.
They don't realize how powerful it is.
It's so important to surround yourself with the kind of people that are going to bring out the best in you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And many times people are doing the opposite. Yeah. And they find themselves struggling to grow because they're not surrounding themselves with people who are going to bring that out in them.
Absolutely. And you've got to have safe places that you can be transparent with. And I've said it, people, and like I had mentioned, what I have tattooed on my shoulder and chest is armor. I'm very selective with who I take my armor off around. That when you are vulnerable, they've got to lift and lead. Yep. They have to be. I love raw, candid. I love transparency. I love people that will absolutely shoot it straight to you, and that with that tough love, you've got to
suffer from that problem at all.
Who, me?
But she's trying to like buffer me on the edges.
I was scared to walk in here. I don't know what you're going to pick apart here.
Why are you being scared? I mean, you could take me out with a knee or an elbow or a look, a finger.
I cry
you could probably
easily,
take me out with a finger, right?
I cry easily.
Could you take someone out with a finger? 2 fingers?
No, it depends. It depends if my finger's on a trigger, probably.
Anything?
That's good. That's good.
What'd you say?
If my finger's on a trigger, probably.
Which, ladies, by the way, let's go into talking about a little bit what we can expect because we are so stinking excited. Well, this is about you. You're going to be teaching it.
It's
us. But, I mean, we women, we can talk everything, but you're going to be able to show us What can some of these women expect? What can all these women expect coming to this event?
So amazing event, and first off, hats off to y'all for your passion for really creating an environment for individuals to transform their, not just their thinking, but their understanding that, when they walked in the door this morning, that they can walk away at the end of the day with a new facet of seeing themselves confident.
Resilience.
And resilience, and realizing that there's so much more inside of us. I'm just in love with that 4-letter word of more. So many times we live our lives not tapping into that, and I think that day, literally the event's titled Unstoppable, and for the ladies that do attend that day, they're going to experience an amazing day of obviously mental wellness and understanding who they are and what y'all amazingly bring to the table. But we're going to bring to the table, decades of experience with not only defensive tactics, which is close hand contact of how to defend yourself confidently. Now, are we going to walk away ninjas? I don't know. It depends on how many outfits you want to wear. You can, come.
Carla will come with 15
changes. Bring you a ninja outfit for the day. But you're going to walk away. For every person that gets to attend, you're going to get to experience some defensive tactics, learn some fundamentals that are going to, help you understand that you're never unarmed. You're never at a place of totally defensive, being defenseless in a situation. As well as if you bring your pistols and you bring your firearms, you get to experience a firearms day to get some range time with some of the most skilled professionals that the security community has to offer with Justin and Marcos. Phenomenal individuals.
I really want to point out that you don't have to own a pistol to come, because we're going to have plenty available to help you with that training. So
although
don't let that stop you.
We prefer you to bring your own gun.
100%.
But and the reason why I say that is you need to get used to holding your own gun. You need to get used to putting the magazine in, clearing the gun, and they're going to be teaching us the basic stuff. So this is the one thing that I've gotten so far from women and even husbands asking, because get ready, husbands, when your wives come home. You might be ready for something. But
it might be a little rewarding for you. It might.
Okay.
You can
Carla
use
the therapist.
Multifaceted. I mean, come on. We're putting a little spice there. That's exactly right.
I feel like we need chicka bone.
We just changed Unstoppable to the next level. It's for the after the train.
That's it. That's it right there.
Yes,
but
this is good stuff.
I keep telling people, like, and as well as I do, it's almost like you kind of explained it to a T. Being that kid on the sideline that was kind of quiet and kind of intimidated, and then you just took that one step, and now you're doing what you're doing. I try to encourage women when they're getting ready, because that's the first thing they say. Like, I had a woman call me the other day. She's like, I want to attend this event, but she's like, will you go shooting with me at the range first? I'm like, no. I'm like, that's what you're going to get when you come here.
Absolutely.
You're going to get better instructions than you'd get from me. And I'm rusty. Like, so I need to clean off the dust and get revamped on all that, right? So I'm like, no, you don't need any of that. You're going to learn it. Like, when they're working with you, when we're going to be working with you, because Carla and I are going to dive in with you too.
Love it.
I'm going to have to show people how I handle Carla sometimes after the behind the scenes, right? Yeah, get ready. Anyway.
In your dreams. In your dreams.
In your dreams. And this is the thing I struggle with. So I'm going to ask you now, because this is Unstoppable. And he's like, come on, tell me. And this goes with firearms and protecting your body, right? Mm-hmm. Self-defense. Let's say you got all the skills. I think my biggest thing is when to use them. Like, when do you know when to use them? You're going to teach us, right? You're going to teach us things to identify if you feel like someone's in your personal space. What are your rights, or when do you react?
I mean, your goal in a situation is to get out with the least amount of violence,
right?
So
you need, right?
one of the things in taking not just decades of experience of working in situational events that I know I have worked through, and really that day. So first off, encouragement for every single lady. Here's your encouragement: sign up, get connected, be there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Don't let inhibitions or fears cause you not to come. That's absolutely what the day is for. It's
don't be intimidated.
Never, don't be intimidated, because everybody there is at the same level. We always say it before our DT, and obviously with the agency that we're with, and with Justin, and when we do all of our defensive tactics training, we're in a room full of some multifaceted, talented guys that are absolute, just Vikings and door kickers. And we always say your ego's not your amigo when you walk into train. And
I love that. Your ego's not your amigo.
Not your amigo.
So when these ladies come out to train, don't let anything keep you from coming out there. And like what you were saying with how do you know what to do? So that day of Unstoppable, we're going to give you not just the education of understanding, how to react and what to do, understanding, building confidence and understanding situations and predictive indexes. In other words, seeing situations before they break out and then knowing what to do. And like you said, what level of threat? We talk about in the law enforcement community, in the private security industry, use of force, punching people in the face just because they tell you that, they don't like your coffee. That could be a little bit extreme.
You think? Maybe although I have felt that way a couple of times with Carla.
The barista may not necessarily put sugar in your coffee next time. Yeah. So use of force may need to be judged there.
Or trespass, I don't know.
Exactly. If I get calls from the spouses after this, it may change something up, Dinner will not be the same again. Yeah. Sleeping on the couch the next couple of weeks.
Or it may be more exciting. Who knows?
More exciting, I'm telling you.
Open your mind.
Use it to your advantage.
To your advantage. That's exactly right.
Bradley, watch out.
But in understanding what your question and statement was, how do you know when to use something like that? So that day, literally, we're going to equip. And I think those are really the facets that I always want somebody to walk away with. Information without application is worthless. How many times have you ever gone to something and you got information and you walked away and I don't even remember nothing that just went through?
A lot of times.
A lot of times.
Yes.
So information without application doesn't ever bring information, doesn't ever bring transformation. So we want them to walk away with information of understanding basics and fundamentals, not just of self-defense, but also understanding themselves and what they're capable of. Then the application of when to use it, how to use it, and that aspect of knowing, okay, when should I use aggressive and or violent force? I tell my 15-year-old son all the time, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a violent man that is very skilled at being able to do harm, but he voluntarily controls it. When you realize that there's nothing that you're ever going to experience in life after walking away from the unstoppable, that you have tools that you don't ever have to be intimidated. You don't have to be afraid, but you can walk into situations wise, aware, and knowledgeable that if you do experience it, I've taught women's self-defense for multiple years, and I always started each one of the classes with, there's two people on a police report. There's a victim and a survivor, and the only difference between a victim and a survivor is the survivor did something.
Wow.
And so in answer to your question, when you reach levels of discomfort, you match the level of discomfort to the level of a posture that you take in that situation. So if I'm uncomfortable in a situation and it is just purely distance and someone is in my space, then I'm going to create distance in that situation. Right. If someone in a situation puts their hands on me and it's not in a passionate way, not in a way that is receptive or wanted, then based upon the level of the touch, you're in a bar, somebody does something, they bump up to you, they, hey, babe, or something like that. I'm going to give you the skills and techniques at the end of the day of how to handle that individual that is harmless, essentially, that you don't want to break the guy's arm because you're in a bar and he just puts his hand on your shoulder, but you don't want his hand on your shoulder. You don't want him touching you. So how to take it from that level to you're in a street situation and you're now in a potential violent or a danger situation, how to create distance and separate yourself in that situation to where you can get free and you can stay safe.
Oh my gosh. So what he just said is just, exactly what every woman has been through at some point.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I can't tell you how many times someone skimmed their hand on your rear or whatever at a bar, and I'm like, hey, And of course, my eyes say it all. I get all crazy looking.
She does have crazy
I may not have the martial arts technique, but my face.
So can you do that part of the training? You can show. I always tell people when I would teach all the young black belts and all the kids in our school, I tell them, I said, I'm going to show you one of the greatest secrets in the martial arts community. I said, but this skill set, I said, you can't use it just anywhere. I said, and careful using it on your parents or people around you. I said, are y'all ready for this? Of course, you got a room full of kids. It's like, this is a technique that's been used throughout years. I said, you got to be smart with this when you use it. I said, y'all ready for this? I said, this is one of the skills I've used in private protection my entire career. Y'all ready for this?
That look.
smile.
Yeah, it's a crazy face.
It's a crazy face.
It's a crazy
That's
face.
exactly right.
She's about to go crazy.
That with a capital K.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And I get that
love
look
that.
a lot.
She does,
I do.
like on a daily basis.
I mean, maybe a little. I don't know. Do I?
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
I'm pretty vocal.
So that's when you get a little bit of distance there. So make sure
that calm before the
that's
storm.
Exactly
Well, no, because
right.
I know a lot of women would get, and this is so interesting to me because, and I've been put in situations where I literally probably could get physical, but being that they've not approached me, but they've kind of gotten close enough to you where you're able to get out of the situation and walk away. But there's many times when you're like, I wish I would have just taught that person a lesson.
So one of the things that we teach, and I've lived my life, and so many times when, especially if I've ever worked with law enforcement agencies' wives, all that doesn't work. What they taught you doesn't work. Listen, we were doing defensive tactics with edge weapons and blunt force weapons a few weeks ago, and I always teach and train our officers. I don't want you going toe to toe with anybody. This is not an MMA fight where you're going to win a trophy or money at the end of it. The whole attribute and aspect of developing a self-defense skill set and or having the knowledge and ability at the end of the unstoppable day is realizing that you can create distance, you can get away and defuse a situation, you can de-escalate a situation, and you have the ability to go home at the end of the day. You're not going to be harmed, or you can stop the harm, or you can stop the attack, but you can, at the end of the day, have confidence that you have a knowledge and an ability, because knowledge without application is worthless. So we want to be able to give them tangible knowledge, tangible skill sets that they can apply, and you will apply. These ladies are going to get to apply it, do it, and walk away confidently. Now, like I said, I encourage formal training. In other words, don't let it stop there. It's like anything else in life. You talk about a marriage, you say I do at the altar, but that's not a marriage. It begins that day. So when they come to Unstoppable, this is a starting point.
When he says I do, I'm like, I did. And I did it again.
And I'm done, and I did it again.
And she did it one more time.
And reset. And reset.
She's got that reset button down.
It works, right?
Well, it is right now.
That's so true. It's
Where's
so
that
true.
was easy button? That was easy.
I'm a hot mess. I
That'll
know.
be for the next Unstoppable training.
That's right. Next level.
That is a whole nother level. But yes. The neat thing about this event, though, it's teaching so many individual skills, but it's also teaching women how to be there for each other.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I love that we're going to be able to support each other, encourage each other, cheerlead for each other through some of these really difficult trainings. It's going to be great.
I'm so excited.
And that's one of the things that, even looking at the environment that you're creating, when you look at journeys, I always say life's better when you do it together. When you have individuals around you that either going to make you laugh, they're going to make you cry, they're going to hurt your feelings.
We're going to do it all.
Every bit of it that day. Every bit of it. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. She's going to make you cry. Is what you're going to make her laugh.
She's going to cry. I'm going to make her cry. And then she's going to give me free therapy after.
I like that. I really need therapy at the end of the day. What sessions do you have available?
Yes. I'm going to give her my
No,
schedule.
but here's the cool thing, too, about this event is not only are we offering this event, if these women feel like they want to follow up and do more,
absolutely,
they've got that at their fingertips.
Absolutely.
I mean, and the goal for this event is, this is a basic course these women are going to be taking with us. But the cool thing is whenever they want to get to that next advanced level, guess what? Mental Perk, Alamo Defense is right there to get them to that next level, to do more training.
That's
to do more.
One of the heartbeats of Alamo Defense and every single one of our owners is to take individuals at whatever level you're at, whether it is at a basic fundamental level or whether it's your highest level of proficiency. I've never been in a room where any individual, and I've been in a room full of some very intelligent, very, very successful individuals and multi-talented individuals. Nobody in the room knows it all. Every single one of us have something to bring to the table.
Did you hear that, Carla? You don't know it all. Sorry.
I know a lot,
Whoa,
though.
I know a lot. She's got that.
I didn't mean to interrupt you because I know you're saying something good, but I had to tell her. She doesn't know it all.
She's like, record that
Yeah,
back and play it back.
Oh, it's
And
recorded.
do realize I do know a lot.
A lot,
A
yes,
lot.
absolutely.
But
I've got
not all
really
of
big
it.
brain.
A really big brain, so when I came in the door. But when you look at every single thing that we're going to, obviously for that day, our heartbeat is continuing education. So with Alamo Defense, that's a starting point. Unstoppable is just the beginning.
Yes.
And when you look at it, it's a journey,
Yeah.
not just with Alamo Defense, but even with mental perks, realizing you have people beside you, realizing you have individuals and opportunities to take things to the next level. And
We're going to pull the plug on limitation.
I
We're
love
gonna-
it.
We are.
That's
100%.
even better.
Yes.
Unstoppable and no limits.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, and the cool thing too is, as you go into stuff like this, we talked about and we do this with police departments and stuff, but when you gauge an audience and you're in a room of a group of people, Carla is so good about getting everybody to a level of just being real and normal and getting out of that uniform and getting out of that professional feel, right?
Absolutely.
And so the cool thing about when we get ready to do this then is we're going to ask these women at the beginning class, how are you feeling about it? I cannot wait to see their response after
Yes.
they've gone through the day of
it's
training.
done, that's on fire.
Because they are going to feel completely different.
Totally agree.
And another thing that's important too, because I've gotten a little rift on this. The men are wanting to go, hey, how come we can't do this with our wives? Not that we don't want you to, and that'll be another event. How about that?
That
Husband
is.
wife
Yet,
course.
the word yet. Okay.
Yet. Men are usually more advanced in these areas, especially with the guns. Not all of them, but guns and usually self-defense. They're just, historically they're stronger, right?
Grew up in those
So-
environments, maybe.
Yeah, so I think that's why we went ahead and made the decision to make this an all-women's event, and then we'll do an all-men's event because we want them both to feel like they're because it's
And they're an
intimidating.
element. Yeah,
it's
it can be
intimidating
intimidating.
sometimes walking into a room with a bunch of men.
But I love what you're talking about of really the experience before and then after the event.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I go back to the aha moments of revelation, and I've seen it. And just like I'm talking about the guys, at the end of the day, when you experience something that lets you realize, number one, I love things that open my eyes to understanding, and especially when it's in a comfortable environment. And that's what I love about the Day of Unstoppable. That entire day is going to be centered around just being in a comfortable environment where you can learn and build really a new level of seeing yourself in the mirror. And it doesn't matter what you face in this life, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, tactically. You're equipped and ready to really defend against it. It's not the absence of it. And like I was sharing earlier, so many times guys, will that technique work? And here's the situation. There's thousands and thousands. There's infinite techniques to certain situations, but at the end of the day, it's your ability to create and create distance in a situation, to walk away from it knowing that you did not experience a loss in that. We all experience troubles and problems when we go into it, whether it's an attack, whether it's physical, relational. When we experience it's difficult. But if we have a knowledge and a skill set that helps us separate from that and walk away from it, then that's really what it's about.
Yeah. And I visualize it as being, it's not always, you may not always get the technique down, but you have the resilience to attempt to do something to help yourself.
Yeah.
You're doing something, and
Yes.
that's where. And even if you go back and look at 90% of your post-action events, and so many armchair quarterbacks, whether it's attacks of a person, whether it's law enforcement, military communities, people always you should have done this, should have done that. At the end of the day, doing something creates that. It honestly, that's what stops the mindset of the individual that's trying to cause issues, cause problems. Doing something is what disrupts that.
Well, trying is the first step to defeating failure, right?
Powerful.
100%. And you don't have to be perfect at it. Just trying sometimes is a success, right? So,
As I've heard it said so many times, a white belt is far more skilled than the person that's sitting on a couch doing nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And so trying and doing is the start. So then ladies getting there and starting and doing is one of the most amazing steps that can be taken.
Oh, I can't wait.
100%. And we're talking about some really serious things that we're going to be doing that day, but you have to realize we're going to be incorporating a lot of fun and laughter.
Yeah.
Because
look
fun
at us.
and laughter
How can you
is
not
so
have fun with
mentally
me?
healing. It is. That's so mentally healthy to
Have such a dry
and be
sense
able to
of
laugh
humor.
at yourself when you do fail. Being
Brian's
able
like,
to But you laughing at yourself in the midst of these things is going to be
well, and that's the
part of
biggest thing, because I don't know about you. I do get a little nervous going into a crowd. I may not look like it, but my insides are dying. Like, I get nervous just because I don't know why I do. I just do, right?
That's one of the biggest things when you look at it, not just self-defense and in situations. Those adage and the quote says, some of you have never been punched in the face, and it shows.
Yeah.
You know, there is an internal kind of anxiousness that's in every single one of us when you think
100%.
about facing something that's going to be difficult, challenging, or create fear. And most attacks, most situations really stem from a baseline of our ability to defend ourselves. Really doesn't have anything to do with how talented or skilled, or if we're a martial artist or this warrior. What it really boils down to is do I have confidence to do something?
Yes.
Fear oftentimes, and you've seen it, fight or flight.
It'll paralyze you.
You've seen law enforcement officers that that you go back to the fight or flight, the freeze. It doesn't matter where you're at. Building that resilience inside, and like you said, overcoming that fear inside, that's where it starts. It starts on the inside. I've always said it is you can never go externally where you've never gone internally. You got to beat that. When you walk into a room, do I really want to be here? What am I going to do? It's that awkwardness of getting up in front of people. Do I do this? And even in a situation when you're getting off a bus, you know, you're getting out in your car and it's a quiet parking lot, you're walking out at the end of the day, that mental competence of realizing I'm going to have my head up, I'm going to be aware, I'm going to be mindful of my situation, whether you're at home and you're in a situation where you see a situation as elevating. You look at de-escalation skills, and that's one of the things that we'll talk about that day. De-escalation skills, I've said it in the almost 2 decades that I've been in the private security industry. Your verbal de-escalation skills, your ability to talk your way out of stuff. Well, Brian,
I'm out of that one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm going to smack you. She's Brandon. I'm going to smack you. We're
goes
done. We're
up.
bypassing the
My eyeballs popping out to de-escalation. I'm just saying.
No, you have
before
to.
it gets physical, you know.
It's quite
You're going to have to teach me, Brian. You're going to have to teach me.
We'll work with it.
It may be, you know.
It's starting point. See, we begin the journey, and then we just work our way through it.
You're going to have to work backwards with me, for sure.
Probably going to need Carla afterwards.
Yeah,
the starting point.
I'm not going to her. Are you kidding? No, I'm kidding.
You're already in the middle of the sandwich here, so listen, she's going to get that.
We got you, Brandy. We got you.
Why Carla brought you here?
I know, yeah, that's true. Okay, so all of the wisdom you've learned with all your mentors around you, everything you've done, do you think that's, I don't know what your mental health journey's been in life, but do you think all of the discipline of martial arts and stuff has helped you with your mental health journey, getting through things in life?
100%. I've had journey of disappointments, loss, betrayals, tragedies, and it truly is that discipline at the end of the day, realizing that you can't memorialize and camp in negative places. You've got to keep moving forward. When I first got into martial arts, Grandmaster Keith Yates, he's one of the forefathers in American Taekwondo. I was at a tournament one day, and I'd won a first-place mural for fighting, and I was having him autograph it. And when he autographed it, he wrote, "Never give up," on it. And that it stuck with me, you know, and I've always lived and breathed that. But at the end of the day, when we go through things, and I do, you know, the things that I've gone through, martial arts has been that foundation. And I go back to the day, obviously, our unstoppable event. Singular days that impart something into you that you realize from that moment forward. I go back to trajectory aha moments in your life when life never is the same. It's no different than the black and white picture now becomes vividly color, that you now see things differently. When your mindset and your trauma and your experiences and maybe the words and situations that have been spoken into you and altered your identity, you experience a day that opens your eyes and you now see yourself differently. That's what martial arts has done for me. That's what aligning with individuals and mentors that were very, very specific in cultivating what was inside of me and really just pouring into me and really the acceptance of who I was. And that let me see that no matter what I faced, I didn't want to memorialize negative situations. So when I went through things, I made it a decision in my life never to camp, to always keep moving forward, always keep pressing forward. No matter what, don't stop. And that's even what I teach in self-defense. Don't stop. We teach it in firearms training. How many rounds does it take to stop an attacker? Who
As
knows?
many as it
Depend-
takes.
As many as it takes. How many punches does it take?
As many as it takes. Okay.
to stop that. What do I do? What kind of force do I use until it stops? So when do I stop moving forward? Never. It doesn't matter if it's I always say bigger the smile, bigger the trial. When do I stop pushing forward? Never. I just smile and keep pushing face forward into it. So
I love that.
So you've got children.
one son, he is 15 years old. He is my lion.
He's your lion. So is he? Did you raise him in martial arts?
I have that young man not only has walked, I always tell him that we are lions, and he has grown up not only in the martial arts community. He just started jiu-jitsu a few weeks ago. But his entire 15 years has been spent traveling with me, doing defensive tactics. I have told him, his entire life that we're lions. It was so funny when he was younger. He's like, I always told him, I said, we had an experience where Cheryl and my wife, we were a little bit bitey at each other. And so I was apologizing to him as a young child, as a father, failing. I was like, hey, listen, you've seen Daddy not necessarily maintain control. And I said, as lions, we're protectors, we're defenders, we're providers. I said, but what do lions have? And I said, they have teeth. And I said, sometimes they bite and they're not doing real well. I said, so sometimes we got to guard against what we say and the way we treat one another. And he goes, Dad, he just kind of pondered and he looked at me and goes, can't we just be hyenas and just make people laugh?
Don't you love that?
My gosh, the heart of a child.
And then that's a teaching moment to you. He just taught you something.
He's got some mic drops that I have been blown away with. And when you look at really the legacy that you leave, and that's the reason I have such a passionate heartbeat.
Yeah.
But he embodies that as a 15-year-old. He embodies that wisdom of a lion and also that laughter of a hyena. So
I love that, though. I love that. And he just schooled Dad on,
absolutely schooled me.
We've taken it from lions to hyenas.
No, that's exactly right.
You're gonna laugh and you may die.
Laugh a little more, Dad.
A lion a hyena can take you down.
Damage.
Yeah,
They're
it can do
crazy.
some damage.
Crazy people.
We're bringing Grayson along. He's the one that can do the most of it.
You should bring him.
Absolutely.
You should. Well, actually, Grayson would be good because we kind of talked about, and I know we're jumping ahead, but doing a kids event.
I love it. Absolutely.
Empowering these kids to feel like they can protect themselves.
One of the things that I've found with not just the martial arts community, but even within the private security industry, and I've been blessed to train hundreds of private security officers as an instructor trainer in the Private Security Bureau. Over the last 10 years, have trained hundreds of officers. And at the end of the day, whether you're male, female, it doesn't matter. Confidence comes from your identity of who you are. And so many people come into situations, and whether it's training, not thinking that they're capable, not thinking that they can. And I look at what my whole heartbeat, it was Father's Day a couple of years ago. Cheryl woke up, she's like, hey, you going to church today? I'm like, nope, I'm not doing Father's Day at church today. I said, me and Grayson are sitting on the front porch. And so she went to church, and I told him, I said, Bubs, go grab you something to drink. And I said, I'm going to get a cup of coffee. We're going to sit out here and talk.
Oh,
and,
I love that.
So I literally spent that day pouring into him. And I think that's something that even as the kids, our kids today, one of the greatest struggles, and obviously us as individuals and in life, society just projects so many different levels of attacks on our identity that we walk away and don't even really know who we are when we wake up every day.
You said the key thing, Brian, because I have said that for years, just growing up the way I grew up, and I had a therapist ask me, and how many times have you asked this question to your patients? Who are you, Brandy? Who are you? And I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I don't know who I am.
Yeah, and that's a typical answer.
And then I start breaking down. No, you can think deep. Well, I'm the kid's mom. I'm the and they're like, no. Those are things that make you happy. Who are you? And that forces you to really think, who am I? Like, who am I?
Well, I've said it for years in so many situations. I'm such an advocate, but it's probably one of the greatest critics for us in self-evaluation. We beat ourselves up more than anybody ever will.
Yes, we do.
And I have said it for years that, the mirror is your greatest enemy and your greatest asset. Until you learn to love what's in the mirror, then you'll never be able to love anything else in life. And that identity, and talking about building resilience and with our kids, and it doesn't matter if it's kids, if it's women, or if it's the guys that want to come along. Because truth be told, most guys, they'll mask who they are. I've worked with so many guys that I'd sit and talk to them many times, and I'm like, now you want to tell me the truth?
Yeah, 100%.
And I could probably get that from you, Brian. You could probably read it really quick just with all the training you've had and being around it. I mean, you could probably just, and how quick are they to say, all right, dude, you called me out?
A lot of times you'll get two things that you run into is you run into a defensive posture, and then you run into a broken posture.
Right.
A defensive posture is because there is more that's there, and the broken posture is the realization that I'm sitting with somebody that actually wants to see me, and that's even with the kids and even with the ladies that day of Unstoppable. The reality is when you understand who you are and you realize that you're never defenseless in this life, and you have people around you that love you, care about you, and support you and stand beside you. They're not just fair weather, but they're going to be there with you in the hard times. I've said it so many times. I don't want to see your glory. I don't want to see your beauty. I want to see your scars. I want to see your difficult. Tell me your battle stories.
Yeah, those scars, they tell such a story.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells that you have been through it and you've come on the other side of it.
Absolutely.
When we're talking about resilience, what better way to show resilience?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, give me
really
your messy. Give me your hard stuff. Give me the days when you didn't want to put makeup on. Give me the days when you felt like giving up and you gave up that day. You know, you're asking about just even that resilience with kids and even with situations. You know, so many situations, and like we were talking about, you know, you ask that question to so many clients at times of, you know, who are you? We're talking about your identity. Who I thought I was at certain seasons in my life. I may have thought I was king of the world today, but tomorrow I may have an event or a situation that may bring me to my knees and let me realize how minuscule and small I am in this life, and how much I realize out of everything in this life, what do I really have control over?
Yeah.
And that's what you have to focus on. You have to focus on what you have control over.
Absolutely.
And not the things that you don't. I think we spend a lot of time worrying about all the things that we can't control and not enough really being present in the moment of the things we can.
Well, and I think you know this. I mean, my journey the last couple of years has been, you know, to me, I felt like if I could control every situation, then everything would be fine. And really, I was making myself miserable and everybody else around me miserable instead of trusting the process.
Well, and that's one of the difficulties is, you know, if you've ever seen the movie 300. That's
I love that. I love that movie.
The alpha movie of anything that's out there. But, you know, Leonidas' statement when he asked him to kneel and he goes, submission, that's going to be a bit of a problem. And when we look at so many times in life, we think submission is surrender to something that we feel like is actually not worthy, or that it is not right for us to give ourselves to, and we have to stand in a posture to maintain that control. When in reality, it's not that we're surrendering or submitting to a specific individual or situation. It's realizing that we need to be fluid enough not to allow the situation to rob us really of the essence of who we are, which is our strength, and that is our peace, our joy, our happiness. And those are tangibles that people will never give to us. Events will never give to us. You have to wake up every day, and those are things. Talking about defending yourself and fight for. Those are choices you wake up every day and fight against and fight for. And it's not easy. So, I mean, I'm probably as black and white as it comes when you talk about reality. I'll give raw facts and figures and situations and events. I'll never color code or sugarcoat anything.
That's my problem.
Tell you the friggin' facts.
Yeah.
Probably hurt your feelings along the way.
I will, for
and
sure.
I'm okay with
I
that.
have.
Because
Me
it won't
too.
save your life. It won't change anything.
Yeah.
Everybody has a choice how they receive that information,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They do. You have a choice every day of how you wake up and face that day, and you have a choice of how you receive that information. There are so many things we realize. We feel like we don't have choices. We don't have control. You have so much more than you know.
And you just hit it good, because it's the realization when you realize that you have that choice.
Changes everything.
It changes
does.
it's
It
so
does.
freeing. It gives you a whole new perspective on just being in the moment and feeling who you truly are. And I think that's been, you know, I know that's been my journey for the last several years.
Well, we are all excited about this upcoming event. So let's talk about how they can register. Can they go to our website?
You can always go to our website, www.mentalperk.org. But we will be having stuff on there. We're fixing to start dropping some promo videos. You'll be able to hear one of your instructors here talk to you about how you're going to be able to leave feeling confident and protecting yourself. I know I'm excited about it, but yes, we'll have all that coming down. And here's the cool thing too, which I'm so excited about, is if you're interested in being a sponsor of the event, the perks you get for being a sponsor are perks that I've never seen before.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I mean, and
pretty amazing.
So again, you listen to this, you'll be able to learn more about it, but we'll have everything posted in the next week and a half. But you heard firsthand from one of the men that's going to be training you, and I'm
and if
so
you haven't
excited.
learned about just not only the strength of all of his skills, but the strength of his mind.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
how much you put your heart into that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be
just
amazing training.
Words of wisdom in just such a calming way. I mean, it's been amazing to have you as a guest on our show. We really are blessed and honored.
And tell us a little bit about where people can reach more about what
Yes.
you do and all the services that you offer.
So I know you guys have got obviously contact information
Yep.
for us.
Yes.
Alamo Defense. We're in the process right now of our website getting live. They can definitely contact me through any social media platform that I have specifically, and I'm sure links will be.
I'll have everything
directly
posted,
there.
yep.
So feel free to reach out to me on that for both professional insight. At the end of the day, like I said, I think strength is always in your relationships, and it's always the beginning of a journey. So feel free to reach out for me. You know, when it comes to any questions that you have about the day of the event.
Yes.
And so, Brandy, even the day of the event, I don't think we've actually said start to finish. You were talking about start to finish, what that day looks like. Don't miss out on that day. I want to see you that day. I just think, number one, we're going to have a blast and have fun. But what does that day look like from beginning to end?
So the day from good question, actually, since it's our event. We're thinking start 9 to 5:30ish. It's going to be a long day. We'll have lunch served, but you're going to do approximately 2.5 hours, 3 hours each. Fire range, and then defensive tactics, and then you'll have about an hour and a half of mental health.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a full, fun-packed day of women being in community with each other, lifting each other up, laughing, maybe crying.
Yeah.
But we don't care.
Tears are good.
About.
We like tears.
To be.
Yeah. I mean, we're so excited. So for what you're getting,
yeah,
it's mind-blowing
It's
to me
amazing.
because you're going to walk away feeling so empowered
Yeah.
and so strong, and you're going to want to come back. And that's what excites me about it.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Bring a friend.
Tell three.
And I'm telling you, it's such a there's so many limited spots. This is not going to be a huge event. But I'm telling you, the reason why we're doing this is it's going to be more personable, more one-on-one.
But with the interest, we'll throw more. But yeah, if there's a lot of interest, we'll start up another one. So don't worry about that.
I'm already planning the next one. You know that.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
You know.
She's always 10 steps ahead.
I am.
Yeah. We have so much enjoyed, and we didn't even touch on everything that you do. We're going to have you back because, I mean, there's so much that you're doing service-wise on helping communities, the sex trafficking, and all of those things that you guys do to bring these survivors home. And so it's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. And we're so blessed to have you here.
Definitely an honor being here today. And I had a blast. Y'all didn't pick on me too much.
Yeah, but I will tell you on that day when he starts the smile, beware.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. I'm like, back away, Brandy.
It's
Back
going
away.
to be like creepy clown smile over there.
I don't know if I have a crazy look. Brandy says she's got the crazy look.
I definitely
though.
have the
So
crazy
I mean,
look.
I'll just
She
tee it up to
does.
Brandy for the crazy look.
Yeah, no, the crazy look's real, and my kid she had to remind me, Mom, that is definitely your crazy look, right?
Self-defense, the Brandy look. We're just going to coin
it
that
all
the Brandy
starts
look.
with the look.
Get the crazy look. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for being on our show.
Much.
Such an honor. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
If you or anyone you know is struggling with mental health issues, please reach out to talk to someone you trust. Get connected to a mental health professional who can help you find ways to cope and ultimately feel better. If you are having suicidal or self-harm thoughts or thoughts of hurting another person, please go to the nearest ER, call 911, or contact the National Suicide Hotline at 988. Thank you for tuning in to Mental Perk. We hope our talk today highlighted real people working through real issues based on mental health. Our goal at Mental Perk is to make sure every one of you knows you're worthy. We're in this together.